I want to wake up in that city that doesn't sleep. That would be insane. If you lived in a city that didn't sleep, what would happen to you? You would die. Actually, what happens first is delirium. Being a parent is basically a legalized version of torture. Over the last 40 years, sleep for the average person has declined by 2 hours. 2 hours. We used to sleep more. Light is what controls our circadian rhythm. It's what synchronizes us. With good sleep, you eat better, you exercise better, you remember things better, you learn better. So many things. A big theme in these talks is that kids are not mini adults. Kids spend a lot more of their lives sleeping than adults. Up until 4 months, up until several years into preschool, they can spend 2/3 of their lives sleeping. They're also growing their minds. Right? Sleep is how we develop our brains. Sleep is a relative lack of consciousness. The first part of your sleep process, your circadian rhythm. Circa, meaning approximately, dies, meaning day. It's approximately a day they follow. Your sleep drive is telling you to go back to sleep. And that's happening for our kids too. The second we wake up, sleep is telling us to go back to sleep, and circadian rhythm is telling us to stay awake. And the reason you want to go to sleep later on is because you have a burst of a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin is found in all of those animals that also sleep. And melatonin is really sensitive to light. When kids are born, they don't have a circadian rhythm. Infants are supposed to wake up and they're supposed to feed. That's what they're supposed to do. They don't even begin to develop that circadian rhythm until about 4 months. If you had a child that was perfectly sleeping from the very beginning, you just got really lucky. From the very beginning, kids are sleeping much more. They're doing this because they desperately need their brains to develop. It's why sleeping for kids is actually more important in many ways than it is for us. At adolescence, something very horrible happens. All adolescents develop a sleep phase delay. It is totally natural. They want to stay up late and they want to sleep late. We've talked about sleep process. You have your sleep desire, you have your circadian rhythm, and they're working together to keep you awake and to sleep. Now, REM sleep is when you dream. REM sleep is when your muscles go limp. It's when you pick up your child and they're a rag doll. And you have it 4 times throughout the night. That's why if you feel like you dream 4 times throughout the night, it's because you do sometimes. So when you don't get enough REM sleep at night, has everybody here woken up with a headache when you don't get enough sleep? That's because literally the toxins in your brain have not been expressed. Your REM sleep is also when your growth hormone is produced in children. So growth hormone is essential for their body, but it's actually what tells the brain to grow. Aristotle, when he would fall asleep at night, would hold a metal ball in his hand. And as he would fall asleep, he would release the metal ball, and it would fall down on a plate and wake him up. Because Aristotle had figured out that stage 1 sleep is where he developed all of his good ideas. Stage 2 and 3 are your deeper sleep. That's the kind of sleep, first of all, your muscles are active during non-REM sleep. And this is the kind of sleep where you can go into your kid's room, turn on the light and the blender, and do whatever you want. You actually wake up, on average, about 4 times every night. But as adults, we just go right back to sleep. Kids wake up. They wake up because they're not very good often at putting them to sleep. One of our big first missions in teaching kids how to regulate their sleep is teaching them how to tolerate those brief awakenings and go back to sleep. Right? That's the whole point. Kids are much more affected by a lack of sleep than adults are. The 2 big things that are affected, their attention and their working memory. Working memory is when you're taking in the world around you and you're combining it with what you already know. When kids sleep well, they have all the working memory they can have. When kids don't sleep well, they don't have it. And when they don't sleep well on top of that, their attention declines. Their ability to concentrate is one of the first things affected when you don't have enough sleep. So when you don't have really good attention and you're trying to integrate the world into what you know, it becomes impossible. And this is actually what ADHD is. Willpower is your ability, when you have a challenge, to combine what you want to do, what you should do, and with what you're actually going to do. When you do not get sleep, have you had that day where you come home at the end of the day and you go, wow, I got nothing done today. It's almost as if I moved backwards because life kept moving, but I was standing still. Willpower is what keeps you moving throughout the day. And we ask a lot of our kids. Positive emotions are perhaps one of the most powerful ways we can protect against mental illness. When you don't sleep, it appears to seriously reduce your positive emotions. Leptin is your satiety hormone. It tells your body that you're full. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone produced in your gastrointestinal tract. And sadly, when you don't sleep, ghrelin goes up and leptin goes down. Exercise over the long term creates like a hardening of your circadian rhythm. It does help you sleep better, much more consistently. It puts you into routine. But we're talking about 3 to 4 months of consistent exercise improves your sleep, but not a single night. When you can begin to talk to your kids about what being drowsy is, what being tired, recognizing your state of being awake, that's how you pass this material on for them. It's the tricky part about sleep. You can't model sleep the way you can many other things traditionally. So when you go on vacation and think you've had a wonderful vacation, what a lot of sleep experts would say is you're just feeling what it's like to be awake. One of the greatest benefits of sleep is actually your immune system. Like right after washing your hands, there's probably nothing more powerful on your immune system than if you're getting good sleep. The first thing is going to be routine, routine, routine. In all the studies of success at school and success in consistent sleeping, it's about going to sleep at the same time every night and waking up at the same time every morning. So here's the tricky part that anybody here would say, but what about the weekends? Right? I want to let my kids stay up the whole night on the weekends. The answer is that's probably a mistake. When your kids do stay up really late, you, who are now, supreme sleep experts, will know the next day they're going to be emotionally less stable, they're going to have less resilience, they just have less willpower. So you have to adjust the way they're using their energy in the day. The key is trying to get them back on to their routine as quickly as you can. So that means if they're going to take a nap, the nap should be about 20 to 30 minutes, no longer. Temperament has a lot to do with your kid's ability to get to sleep. The house goes on dim mode. If any of you do not have dimmers in your house, get dimmers. The entire house should become dim. The problem with light is that it inhibits your melatonin. That's the problem, again, with exercising too late at night. It also inhibits your melatonin. And you're going to put in blackout shades. Kids' rooms should be totally dark. Once these routines start, this means bedtime. And this means that even if you stay up really late and it's a holiday and you stay out really late, when you get home, a lot of parents, they just do the routines, but they do them really quickly, and it lets the kid know, this is what's happening right now. Light. Nothing is more important than light. Light is what synchronizes your circadian rhythm. When you want to think about changing the way your kids fall asleep, it's going to be about light in the morning. I am a huge fan of using dates in some way to tell a child that they're going to create change. So I said, you're 4.5 now, you have to sleep through the night. So it might start off with, I'm going to hold your hand for 5 minutes, then I'm going to sit next to you for 5 minutes, then I'm going to walk out of the room. If that's where they're at. Remember, CBT, find the right expectation. I'm going to, from holding the hand for 5 minutes to sitting next to you for 5 minutes, I'm just going to sit next to you for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to sit next to you for 5 minutes, for 3 minutes, and then I'm going to sit close to the door for 3 minutes. And then you're actually going to do the opposite. You're going to say, now I'm going to sit next to you, but I'm only going to sit next to you for a minute, and then I'm going to walk out of the room. It's going to be gradual. You're never going to do anything super quick with a kid. That doesn't work with kids. They'll fight you on it. And kids are really good at fighting. Although kids don't have willpower, they have will. Night lights have much less light than even the best dimmer. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Kids develop anxiety throughout preschool and early childhood for different reasons. So when you have them sleeping right, they're going to start getting worried about something else. And they're going to come into that stage 1 sleep, and they're going to wake up out of nowhere. But if the room is darker, you have a better chance of them falling right back to sleep. And if they have a nightlight next to them where they just press a button and stars appear on the ceiling, they might feel safe enough to go back to sleep. The second part is setting the right expectations. So I knew Marlo could sleep longer. It's just she didn't really understand it. So you're going to hold that wake-up time. In fact, when they wake up, you're going to pop the lights up in the room, you're going to raise the shades, you're going to make that room really bright to let them know this is morning time. You try to advance the time that they're going to go to sleep, and then once you've really gotten to the earliest time they can go to sleep, then you try to see how late they can sleep. The hardest part of this is that at first, your goal is to sleep deprive them. That means that you're going to have 3 really difficult days. That's what you have to do. But changing somebody's internal rhythm of sleeping is really hard. So you have to prepare for that. You have to do it at a time when you can do it. And this is where I get to say, it's easy to be a nice parent. It's hard to be a good parent. Families can express to their kids that they value sleep. If they do not buy in to wanting to shift their sleep schedule, they won't do it. You can teach knowledge, but you have to model habits. You have to model habits. And because your kids can't watch you sleep, you're going to talk about sleep with your kids. You have an advantage with your willpower. You have coffee to keep you up. They don't have that. Well, they shouldn't have that. So that's the thing. You want your kids to be the best versions of themselves that they're going to be. And to be the best versions of themselves, they're going to have to sleep well. And what we know from that study in Portugal is if they're going to sleep well, it usually means you're sleeping well. When you're sleeping well, you're going to be the best person you're going to be, and you're going to be the best parent then you're going to be. So thank you very much. I am happy to take any questions.